We gather today to celebrate Shavuot, a holiday that celebrates the majesty of Sinai and the gift of Torah. At Sinai, we felt God's presence, the shofar, the thunder, the smoke, the clouds, and the sacred commandments placed upon the people. It was at Sinai that we received the Torah, the guide to the promised land, along with the laws and precepts that guide us to this very day. However, there's a paradox in the celebration of Shavuot, in that each one of the Israelites that stood at the foot of Mount Sinai would not cross the Jordan River. They would not enter the sacred land promised to Moses on that very day. They would die in the wilderness. Yes, their children would enter the land freed from the burdens of slavery, but for those of the Sinai generation, the promised land remained elusive. As true as it was for our ancestors at Sinai, so it is true for us as well. Death will come. We will not live forever. As Rabbi Peter Rubenstein writes, quote, "As was true for our ancestors, all of us has had an unattained promised land in life. One more fulfillment or cherished moment, one more celebration or accomplishment that always and forever remains just beyond our reach, never to be achieved or sustained or attained. We cannot have it all before we are called home. What we do have is memory and legacy. We each bring stories, lives, and love to this sacred moment of memory. Today, we hold tight to the memories and the embrace and the legacies of those who are no longer with us. Parents and partners, siblings and children, near and distant relatives, friends, mentors, and teachers. These memories and legacies bring us comfort and inspiration in this hour of loss. Some come to Yizkor with raw emotions, present today in the midst of a recent death, perhaps less than a year of mourning. The wound is raw, and for some, the grief almost unbearable. Others are more practiced at this custom, remembering the sadness of loss or losses experienced years ago. But by being here today, all of us keep a promise with our departed, gathering them to us as we march forward in our lives, one step at a time, to our promised land. We are not alone. They are not alone. Even Moses did not reach the promised land. As proclaimed by God, he dies on Har Nebo, Mount Nebo, in the plains of Moab, overlooking the land of Israel. The Torah informs us, and Midrashim, rabbinic stories, emphasize that Moses was not ready to die. At 120 years old, he was healthy and vibrant. And perhaps out of disappointment that he will not get to finish the journey and enter the promised land of Israel himself, or perhaps in fear of his own mortality and imminent death, the rabbis imagine Moses pleading desperately with God to allow him to live and to enter the land of Israel. One midrash imagines God responding to Moses with the following: "Such is the decree that has gone forth from my presence," God says. So Moses, according to this midrash, tries another tactic. He bargains with God to allow him to become a bird or an animal and see the return of Israel as a different vessel. Yet God does not relent. Moses, yearning for entrance into the land, appeals for help from the elements and visits the heavens and the earth, the sun, the moon, the stars and the planets, mountains and hills and the sea. However, he is unsuccessful with them as well. Desperate, Moses goes directly to the angels and asks, "Please entreat mercy on my behalf, that I may not die." The angels respond to Moses that unfortunately, his fate is sealed. Moses is distraught. God will not give in. Moses will not get to complete his journey. However, seeing his distress, God comforts Moses, saying, "Fear not, Moses, for I myself will attend to you and to your burial." God weeps, and so do the heavens and the earth. And then the Torah tells us, Vayamot sham Moshe eved Adonai, be'eretz Moav al pi Adonai. So Moses, the servant of God, died there in the land of Moab at the command of the Lord. End of story. But not so fast. The rabbis point out that the Hebrew offers another understanding. Al pi Adonai literally means by the mouth of God. Moses dies, according to our rabbinic tradition, via a gentle kiss from God. God, who breathed life into Adam in the first chapter of the Torah, reclaims Moses' life lovingly and painlessly in the Torah's last chapter. A remarkable act of love. A gift that we would certainly want for our loved ones and one day for ourselves. To pass from this world with a kiss. Many are not as fortunate as Moses. They pass suddenly or tragically, and the kiss remains on our lips. Among the horrors and the tragedies of October 7th, that was certainly one of them. Over 1,200 of our Israeli brothers and sisters robbed of their final kiss from loved ones and friends. In place of a gentle kiss, their final moments were seized with terror and hatred. Even more, with so many innocent lives senselessly stolen from our world, how many kisses of love, friendship, respect, and appreciation are now left in the hearts of loved ones? How many kisses remain on cold lips? How many I love yous left to remain unsaid? Robbed by Hamas. Perhaps this is why I was so struck by a story and a photograph that has become a symbol, one of the symbols of the war against Hamas for many Israelis. It's this photo, and you may have seen it as you walked into the sanctuary. I placed a bunch of copies in the sanctuary lobby, so maybe an opportunity to pick one up. And if not, you can certainly take a look at the photo after our service this morning. The photo is of Amit Bar and Nir Giorno, a young Israeli couple that have been dating since July of 2022. They were in attendance at the Nova Music Festival on October 7th. They were dancing with friends when around 6:30 a.m., they began to hear explosions and saw rockets in the sky. They jumped in their car and began to head south. But very quickly, they saw that the cars in front of them were turning around, and people within those cars were shouting, "They're shooting at us. Everyone turn around." They turned around but found themselves in a standstill traffic jam. So they decided that the safest thing would be to get out of the car and start running. They ran back towards the site of the music festival because they knew that there were security guards there. Yet as they approached, they saw that the terrorists had now infiltrated the site. In Nir's own words, "We started running together with hundreds of people while dozens of terrorists on ATVs and motorcycles behind us continuously shot in our direction. There came a point where they became too tired and could no longer run. So they laid down in the dirt behind some bushes. The only thing left for them to do was to hide without moving or making a sound, hoping they wouldn't be noticed." Around 11:30 a.m., after more than 3 hours of lying on the ground motionless, Nir suddenly decided to take his phone and capture this picture of both of them kissing. At first, Amit didn't understand. She whispered to him, "What are you doing?" She didn't understand why he suddenly decided to take a photo after not moving for hours. Nir said that he wanted to take a photo for their families, so that, quote, "in case we die, they'll see we've loved each other until our final moments and left this world kissing." Thank God, Amit and Nir were bravely rescued by members of the IDF shortly after their kiss. For them, there have been and will be more kisses. But their story and their photo serve as a lesson to all of us, a reminder of the power of love, a reminder of the power of a kiss, a reminder that even in the darkest of days for the Jewish people, we must hold on to the kiss of kindness and love that God gave Moses. Al pi Adonai. One more story. As I've shared before, years ago in rabbinical school, I interned for a summer as a chaplain at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan. While the chaplains would generally leave the hospital around 5 p.m., there was always a chaplain on call. We took turns. One night midsummer, I was on call, and I was woken by the ringing on my phone around 1 a.m. It was a nurse coordinator at the hospital. A patient was in the process of dying, and the family was requesting a chaplain. I hurried out of bed, changed out of my pajamas, and rushed over to the hospital. By the time I got to the family, their loved one had already passed away. There were about 8 family members gathered together. All were heartbroken. Their loved one, the family matriarch, had died of sudden cardiac arrest. But one of their granddaughters was particularly upset. I learned that she too had just arrived at the hospital. She did not get to say goodbye. Through her steady flow of tears, she looked at me and said, "I didn't get to say goodbye. I didn't get to give her that one last kiss." I did my best to comfort her, to assure her that her grandmother knew she loved her. But then I learned a powerful lesson. One of the nurses had joined us. She took the young woman's hand and said, "When my mother passed away, my pastor told us that kisses do not stop when a loved one dies, because a kiss is simply the heart sharing its love. You will always be able to tell her that you love her." And then the nurse said, "So why don't you go give her a kiss now?" And that's what the granddaughter and the rest of the family did. One by one, even in death, they gave her a kiss. A kiss is the heart sharing its love. And so, may we share our love with our loved ones that surround us in life. I hope Amit and Nir are sharing a kiss right now. And perhaps most importantly, at this hour of Yizkor, may we share our love with our loved ones who are no longer with us. God's kiss to Moses was a remarkable act of love. The kiss we want to give to our loved ones, the ones we hold always. It's a kiss that says, "You matter to me. You remain with me." Our presence today at Yizkor is that divine kiss. So as we prepare to turn to Yizkor, I ask you, who do you wish to kiss today? Picture your loved ones and the love that you shared. And remember, kisses do not stop when a loved one dies. They change form. They become the memories that we hold dear, the legacies that we carry on, and the values that we seek to embody. With love in our hearts and kisses on our lips, it's time for Yizkor. I'll invite everyone to please rise as we turn now to Yizkor. Begins on page 330.
Adonai madam batidehu ben enosh vatachashevehu Adam laheved yamav ketzer lover Baboker yatzitz v'chalaf la'erev yimolel v'yavesh limnot yameinu ken hodav v'navi levav chochma.
Let's read responsively in English on the left-hand side of page 330. Some of us recall parents who gave us life, who cared for us and nurtured us, and who taught us to take our first steps on our own. Some of us remember a wife, husband, or partner, a friend and lover with whom we shared so much of our lives, our failures and achievements, joys and sorrows, intimate secrets. Some of us recall brothers and sisters who matured together with us, sometimes competing with us and sometimes encouraging us on, bound to us by a lifelong relationship. Some of us remember children entrusted to us too briefly, to whom we gave our loving care, and from whom we received a trust that enriched our lives. Their memory is always with us. Many of us recall relatives who knew us, teachers who affected us, and beloved friends who walked beside us in life, guiding us, listening to us, supporting us. Our lives are shaped by those who are alongside us as we walked on our path. Together, may our inheritance impel us to strive to live lives of holiness and service. May memories of love inspire us to love. May painful memories impel us to mitigate the pain others experience. And may we be granted the strength to affirm life's meaning, even in the face of death. Continue in the Hebrew on page 331.
Shivit Adonai lenegdi tamid, ki mimini ba'alemot, lachen samach libi vayagel kivadi, af besari yishkon levetach.
Page 336, Yizkor for the 6 million.
Yizkor Elohim et nishmot kol acheinu b'nei Yisrael shemaseru et nafsham al kiddush Hashem v'et hanashim nashim avatar shenechneku v'shenisrefu v'shenehergu b'shoah בעבור שאנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתם, אנא ישמע בחיינו את גבורתם ומסירותם, ויראה במעשינו טוהר ליבם, ותהיינה נפשותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים, ותהי מנוחתם הכבוד, שובע שמחות את פניך, נעימות בימינך נצח, ונאמר אמן.
Now we'll turn to the left-hand side of the page, at the top of the page. Yizkor for those who have died in defense of the state of Israel in acts of terror, including those who were murdered on October 7th.
יזכור אלוהים את נשמות כל אחינו ואחיותינו בני ישראל שהקריבו את נפשותיהם בדרך להקמת מדינת ישראל ובהגנתה. וכל אלה שנטבחו במעשה חבלה. בעבור שאנו מתפללים בעד הזכרת נשמתם, אנא נזכור לעולם את גבורתם ומסירותם ותמימותם, ותהיינה נפשותיהם צרורות בצרור החיים ותהי מנוחתם לכבוד. שובע שמחות את פניך, נעימות בימינך נצח, ונאמר אמן.
Now we'll turn back to page 335. We'll take some time now for private Yizkor prayers as we remember our loved ones this morning and offer them a gentle kiss. A few moments now for private Yizkor prayers. El Malei Rachamim.
El Malei Rachamim, Shochen B'Amromim, Hamseh B'Nocha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei HaShechina, V'malot Kedoshim U'Torim, Kizohar Arakim Azhirim, L'nishmat kol eila shizkarnu hayom livracha, shalchu le'olamam, B'gan Eden tehi menuchatam, Hanav Rachamim, Hastirei b'seter kenafecha le'olamim. Utzror b'tzror ha'chaim et nishmotem, Adonai u'nachalatam, v'yanuch v'shalom al mishkevotem, v'nomar amen.
Let's read the English together. Exalted, compassionate God, grant perfect peace in your sheltering presence among the holy and the pure, whose radiance is like the heavens, to the souls of all those we have recalled today. May their memory be a blessing, and may they rest in paradise. Master of mercy, may they find eternal shelter beneath your sheltering wings, and may their souls be bound up in the bond of life. Adonai is their portion. May they rest in peace. Let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Page 337.
Mizmor leDavid, Adonai roi Welxer, B'nad asher b'tzeni, al menuchot yenaleni, nafshi yeshover, nafshi yeshover, yancheni v'maglei tzedek, leman shemo, gam ki elech begetz almavet, lo irara, ki ata imadi, shiftecha u'mishantecha, shiftecha u'mishantecha, hemai nachamoni, taroch lefanai shulchan, taroch lefanai shulchan, taroch lefanai shulchan, Shemen Roshi, Dishanta Shemen Roshi, Dishanta Shemen Roshi, Kosiraya, Ach tov chesed, yirdefuni, kol yemei chayai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai, v'shavti bebeit Adonai leorech yamim. Yerai, rai, 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 yerai, rai, 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 yerai, rai, 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 yerai, rai, 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 yerai, rai, 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 yerai, rai, rai, rai.
Kaddish. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei Rabba, v'alma divra chirutei, v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach, ve'olam omei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damirana b'yalama v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael Imru Amen. Ose Shalom Bimroma. Uyase Shalom. Aleinu ve'al Kol Yisrael. Imru Amen.